Hello everybody and welcome to Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. This is Dungeons and Dragons Ace Attorney. Basically, pretty much. I played this a while back. Not long after it first released. But they basically remade it, kind of, not really. There's a lot of things different about it now. They changed around the story, they redid the third case from the ground up, which, thank God, because that case was ass. There are issues I had with the original. I just felt it was too fast. It went too fast. So I hope that they fixed a lot of those issues. Let's get started then. New game. Case 1, the Coldhearted Aristocrat. In the kingdom of Wyverngard, there's a gulf between what was lawful and what was just. Artificery ran in the houses of the aristocrats. Disease and vermin ran through the homes of the common folk. People suffered. People died. Also, the mages of the nobility could keep their plates full and their lives comfortable. Nevertheless, they still wanted us to have the illusion of hope. They challenged us to win, leaving out the fact that they were the ones setting the rules. Many just threw up their hands. No one could blame them. You could never lose if you never played. I was transporting a client in my carriage that evening. We were driving by the McCoy Tavern when we heard a disturbance. Worried that something was amiss, I walked into the establishment to see what the commotion was about. That was when I saw the defendant, lit by the blue glow of this dining room lights. She had stabbed Flynheart, and the sword was shining with magical energy. Objection! Mr. Rudolph, you testify that you saw my client murdering the victim, and you supposedly saw her casting magic while doing so. Yes, I could never forget it. It was burned into my memory. I see. It's funny that you say that. What? Because your entire testimony was a complete lie. What? What are you trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert? Steelwind, think about the state of the crime scene. The witness couldn't have seen anything, much less a homicide. Maybe the rules and institutions were impossible. Maybe I was just a grain of sand trying to stand against an ocean. But I would never stop rising, no matter how many times they tried to drown me. Fucking hell. I would do it again and again if it meant that I could give hope to even one person. That was why I fought. Case 1. The Coldhearted Aristocrat. Okay, I'm really happy that they changed the, Okay, so the thoughts used to be second person. I'm really happy it's first person now. Like, I get why they did second person originally. No, originally it was first person in the demo, then they changed it to second person, which really confused me. But I know why they did that, because it's D&D, it's a cute little nod. However, I think that it just didn't really fit with this game. Anyways. Sweat was soaking through my suit. The air of the countryside was choking me. Okay. I fumbled with the leather reins, tugging at them tightly. Where'd that idiot learn how to drive? Animals are funny like that. You'd never know it, but they're constantly making their objections known. I'd caught many complaints like that through my eye of Horus. Is it Horus? I'm gonna say Horus. Cuthbert, keep the carriage steady. Ruby Timora, occupation attorney, age 46. My mentor and legal guardian. She raised me after my mother was killed and taught me everything I knew about being an attorney. Fucking Danganronpa titles, not title, like character cards. Yes, Miss Timora. My mentor barely looked up from her runestone. She was staring at some magical projections, probably some court files from a case she was working on. I stared longer than I should have. I just passed a legal certification exam, which only meant that a runestone of my own was coming my way. I just had to prove myself, and this trip was the perfect opportunity. Dissidence was brewing in the countryside, and we were on our way to meet with one of the voices of the revolution. The village we were driving to was nearly at the edge of the eastern border, far from the capital city and the kingdom's center. Here we ran the risk of running into the military forces deployed to silence voices like his. Whoever this Flintheart McCoy was, Miss Timora's business with him must have been worth all this trouble. Miss Timora, maybe you could switch with me? Maybe you should switch with me? And what would you learn if I did that? Maybe I was worried about nothing? Practical experience was always a key part of it, learning whenever she was involved. Why else would she quietly sit there, immersed in her court files? Ah! Did that rock just scream out in pain? I grabbed the reins and pulled them with everything I had. The horses slowed to a stop. The child was lying face down in the dirt. A puddle of red was pooling under her. Scaled Lord! I wasn't sure what to do. I wish I'd never procrastinated reading those first aid books. I looked at my mentor. She'd approached the scene quietly and slowly. Her eyes went to the child, then to the surrounding forest. She seemed to be searching for something. She was wearing the same expression she used when inspecting her crime scene. Why would a kid be out in the middle of nowhere? Miss Timora? I say we keep driving and never speak of this again. Miss Timora, she's just a child. Oh, pain. I can see the light. They changed this? They changed this? Aww. Man. As I remember in the original, this kid, Tyrion bought juice for her. I caught a puzzling thought through my eye of Horus. Late to his cue, a man clad in plate armor leaped out of some nearby bushes and stumbled toward us. Why are they using the police spray? He planted his feet firmly on the ground in front of us, puffing out his chest. By the Scaled Lord! Look what you've done! The Scaled Lord? I think I can see him. My family. Who all died in the plague in 589. They're also there. Her lines were historically accurate. Damn it, Alma, mentioning that plague is overkill. This poor child! She's dead because of you! This is a serious crime! This fine is 20 gold pieces! Look at that carriage. They're probably aristocrats visiting our House Pierce. 20 gold pieces? The average sentence for vehicular manslaughter was 2 years of imprisonment. They have vehicular manslaughter here? Okay. Obtained evidence, vehicular manslaughter. In the Kingdom of Isengard, the average sentence for vehicular manslaughter is 2 years of imprisonment. There is no fine. I'll have no choice but to arrest you unless you can pay this fine. Oh, that's what this was. I side-eyed the child, apparently named Alma. I spotted tiny tomato seeds in her pool of blood. You might want to call someone to retrieve Alma's body, then. Her eyes opened, and her head whipped up to look at me. We locked eyes for a second before her head fell back to the ground. I looked at my mentor again, but she just leaned her head and gestured toward the two con artists. Man, it was a nice character moment Tyrion buying her juice. Why'd they change that? It appeared that I was being given another learning opportunity. I couldn't complain. I couldn't complain though. I didn't appreciate being treated like an easy mark. Argument. Ooh, chess pieces. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Why are you showing a character from the second case here? What? Why? Why? Okay. You've started an argument. Defeat your opponent by lowering their confidence. Picking the correct options will do damage to your opponent. However, picking the wrong options will do damage to your confidence. Use context and clues to determine which option to pick. Anyways, what will it be? You'll be taken to the barracks. Will you pay your fine, or do we need to sort this out in the barracks? During arguments, you'll sometimes be asked to pick one of the 3 possible dialogue responses. The correct dialogue will depend on the context of your opponent's claim and their psychological profile. Call. What the fuck does call mean? Fuck. Certainly. Why don't you bring us back to your barracks? What? But it is strange that you'd be bringing us to your barracks instead of the dungeons. Oh. You also probably want to call your unit to escort us. After all, it'd be dangerous for one knight to transport 2 criminals by himself. Shut up! I don't think you can talk your way out of this. Pay the fine for your crimes. Are you seriously going to make me take you in? Just pay the damned fine. During arguments, you'll sometimes be asked to present pieces of evidence in response to a claim. Look at your opponent's claim carefully and present the item that contradicts it. Okay, why do you keep showing characters from the future? Game, just show this! Spells. No spells. People. Tyrion Cuthbert, a practicing defense attorney and the best chess player in all of Wyvengard. Yeah, that's okay. Vehicular manslaughter. No, take that. I kind of sucks how there's no hold it or take that in this game. I mean, there might be a hold it. I don't know. They might have changed that, but there was no take that. There was no hold it last time. There was no take that. It kind of sucks. Except a crime like this wouldn't involve a fine at all. What? Vehicular manslaughter has an average sentence of 2 years of imprisonment. With the death of a child, though, I could see the Crown pushing for more than that. Who the hell are you? I'm a defense attorney. I could recite every one of the kingdom's laws back to you. The knight looked nervously between Miss Timora and me. That's it! His hands shot to the rusty sword hanging from his side. He fumbled with it for a bit before pulling out and waving it at us. I took a step back. My mentor put herself in front of me. Now use violence if I have to. Enough talk. Give us the gold and I won't have to hurt either of you. Come on, give up. You can't move that well in this fake armor. During arguments, your Eye of Horus will show you your opponent's thoughts and emotions after they make a claim. Compare your opponent's thoughts to the claimed and pick the correct option. I don't know what to pick here. Is it intuition, is it empathy, or is it logic? Use the opponent's thought use when the opponent's thought contradicts the evidence. Use when the opponent's thought contradicts the claim. I'll use when the opponent's emotions contradict their claim. Okay. I started at his plate armor. On a closer look, it seemed to be a varnished wood, painted to give off a metallic sheen. I reached past the sword and knocked on his breastplate. It let out a hollow thunk instead of a resonating clang. Ugh! I didn't know the kingdom was cutting back. Would this even protect you in a fight? Are you threatening me? With a litigation, perhaps. I have a sword! You won't use it. Look, let's just cut the charade. It's not happening. Argument 1. Alma rose from the dead and began wiping the rotten crushed tomatoes off her shirt. Sorry, I thought that stuff about the plague would help. I'm tired of eating porridge. Don't worry about it. It's still morning. Someone else will come by. Oh, it's been empty for days. What if they're the only ones? The Kingdom of Wyvernguard, established 613 years ago by the 7 High Archmages, ruled by King Olivier and the mages of his nobility. They'll often preach that our large kingdom was a land of prosperity and happiness, a nation where its people shared the wealth and succor created by its magic. Here. I took out a neatly wrapped sandwich from my satchel and handed it to Alma. What? You'll probably find this more filling than porridge. The man narrowed his eyes, appraising me like the knight he'd been impersonating. He snatched the wrapped sandwich from me, peeling back the bread to inspect its contents. His mouth salivated when he caught a whiff of the sliced deli meat. No poison to be found, apparently. He handed it to Alma, eagerly began munching down on it. It was probably the first person to share any wealth or succor with them in a long time. Oh, I was probably the first person to share any wealth or whatever that word is with them in a long time. Just tell me one thing. What gave it away? What do you mean? It's been a while sanding this armor down. I had to go through 3 attempts just to get it perfectly smooth. I have true sight. It's a magic thing, I think. I even mixed the paint myself. It's got the sheen and everything. How'd you know it was fake? I thought to myself for a while. You clearly went for woad, madder, and weld for your paint. I'm also guessing you used a touch of gall ink for the shadows. They're decent choices if you're trying to paint a shield, but they're useless if you're trying to mimic the complex nooks and edges of plate armor. He just blinked at me. Seriously? Plate doesn't tint that way. Real plate catches the ambient light in cold tones. Your mix was a little too warm. He shook his head, wide-eyed. Cuthbert, was that stuff about the paint really true? No, I just read it from his mind. Did you see that look on his face? I kind of understand why my mom enjoyed fortune-telling so much. She said nothing in response. Her eyes were locked on my satchel, now 1 meal short. I'll be fine. They've probably skipped a lot more meals than I have. In case you've forgotten, they were trying to scam us. If they really wanted to hurt anyone, they'd throw away that fake armor and just use the sword. We should be helping our fellow commoners, right? Isn't that why we practice law? Just don't expect me to share my lunch with you. I spent a good 15 minutes haggling for those sandwiches. Do we even need to haggle? It's a matter of principle. You give anyone an inch, and they'll take a mile. We arrived at Cornhaven, but I smelled the stench before I even spotted the village. The smell of rotting meat and excrement hung in the air. I had to fight the urge to retch. But I did my best to swallow my disgust. I'd been begging Miss Timora to take me on her outings for years. I couldn't show weakness now. Are you okay? I'm fine. I was just surprised. Did you expect the ruling lord to install modern plumbing in a village like this? I guess I never really thought about it. You'll get used to it once you've traveled more. This is just how things are in the outer regions. It really made me appreciate the clean and sanitary streets of the capital. There, the streets and homes were loaded with artificery. We had clean and running water. We had lights that didn't rely on oil and flame. It was as if this village existed in a different time period. I reprimanded myself. I wasn't above this. The people here were commoners, just like me. They only lived like this out of a lack of care from the kingdom. Take a left here. The tavern should be at the edge of town. If the reports are right, this should be the place. Is this really a meeting place for the dissidents against the crown? Flintheart had done an amazing job of disguising their headquarters as a rundown shack. The tavern's been shut down for a few years. Nowadays, Flintheart McCoy just uses it to host his rallies. Hey, you lot! The McCoy Tavern is closed. The distant leader stormed towards our carriage as we parked. He had a roughness to him that matched the state of his tavern. He was practically growling at us with every word. He got close to Miss Timora's face, his feet firmly planted on the ground. He was unflinching, of course, standing her ground as he leered at the two of us. I take it you're Flintheart McCoy? What's it to you? Flintheart McCoy, occupation unemployed. Age 52, leader of a revolutionary faction in Cornhaven, and owner of the McCoy Tavern. He seems to have an extreme grudge against mages and the nobility, but that sentiment tends to be common nowadays. Sorry for not writing ahead of time, but my messages weren't getting through. I'm Ruby Timora. I've been trying to get in touch with you, Flintheart. What? His eyes narrowed for a bit before widening in recognition of the name. Wait, Ruby Timora? Why didn't you say so? Come on in. His tone flipped to jovial in an instant. Now it was as if he were greeting an old friend. I was surprised people out here even knew who she was. I'd have thought her infamy had only spread in the city. I guess he acknowledged her as an ally. They both had a common enemy, after all. Excuse the mess, we haven't exactly seen a lot of guests. It's fine. My mentor looked around warily as she brushed aside a spiderweb hanging in front of her. So what brings you here? I doubt someone like you has seen anything, has anything to see out here. One of my clients has been trying to talk to you. We have a proposition that you'll be interested in. I raised my eyebrow at her. This was the first time I'd heard of this client. Is there anywhere we could talk in private? I've got a bunch of empty rooms upstairs. Perfect. Cuthbert, stay here for a moment. Do you need my help? Don't you need my help? There's no need for that. How was there no need? The Eye of Horus could extract anything she needed from him. Why are you so pissed off at me? That glare overruled my objection before I could get it out. Without another word, they went up the stairs. I drummed my hands on the dusty table, looking around the tavern. It definitely had a lot of personality. One counted dust and insects as character traits. Faint murmurs echoed from the ceiling, slightly stressed. It sounded like their conversation was becoming more frustrated. I brought out a small chessboard from my satchel. Even after a decade, it had served me well. Chess could be played with one person, something that I'd always taken advantage of. I had a match with the Duke of Commerce scheduled in a few months. I wasn't too worried about him, but I might as well take this opportunity. Checkmate. I lost again while playing as white. That was 3 times now. Oh! Hello! Statistically, white was more likely to win. So why was I performing better as black? Was I becoming overconfident as white because it had an advantage? Hello? That very advantage could be affecting my choices and making me play suboptimally. If a personal quirk was making me play like this, then I needed to identify and correct it. Hey! I nearly toppled out of my seat when she tapped me on my shoulder. She stepped back and flashed me with a soft grin. Her body swayed playfully, amused by how flustered I was. Her posture was unguarded. It was as if she never felt threatened in her life. She was holding a large, exotic sword in her right hand, but I barely even noticed it. As her warm and bright aura washed over me, it pulled away any tension and unease I might have felt. Sorry, I was distracted. You know the McCoy Tavern is closed, right? But if you're okay with keeping things off the books, I can prepare a room for you. No, that's fine. I'm just waiting for my mentor to finish speaking with Flintheart. Oh, someone's talking to my dad? Your dad? I'm Flintheart's daughter, Celeste. Celeste McCoy, occupation? Mercenary. She's a merc. She roughs it out with the TF2 gang. Age 19, the only daughter of Flintheart McCoy. She's cheerful and sweet, and also a little intimidating. I'm Tyrion. Nice to meet you. Do you know when they'll be done? I wanted to show him something. Mumling upstairs is becoming more frustrated. Celeste tilted her head as she looked at the ceiling, but she soon got distracted by my chessboard. Wait, this game is chess, isn't it? Are you playing against someone? Oh, I was playing by myself, actually. Oh. Playing alone helps me hone my strategies. Plenty of professionals do it. Hey, don't worry about it. I'm not the type to shame a man for playing with himself. She just chuckled as she drank in my reaction. I looked away from her before clearing my throat. Have you ever played it before? I've read about it in some books a while ago. This room is always so dusty. And finding herself, she sat down in the chair opposite mine. She brushed off some dust from the table with her sleeve, and began setting up her side of the board. Where does the horse go again? Checkmate. If it only took 2 moves, she'd fallen into a classic trap. I felt a little guilty, but my mentor always said that failure was the best teacher. Wait, what? Already? How did you do that? I decided against telling her the name of that mate. The fool's mate. She just grumbled under her breath as we both moved our pieces back into place. So, what kind of business does your mentor have with my dad? I'm honestly not sure. She doesn't really tell me much. I think it has something to do with his dissidence against the crown. Sorry, should I not be saying that out loud? It's fine. She stroked her chin as her hand moved and hesitated over each of her pieces. I hadn't realized that she'd been led into another trap. Here! She moved her knight into position to attack my queen. She'd blocked my initial assault on her king, but... checkmate. A scholar's mate this time. What? How do you keep doing that? The more you play, the more you'll be able to recognize specific boards. You'll get the hang of it in time. She just glared at the board. I glanced at the ceiling. Miss Timora and Flintheart's argument was only getting worse. It didn't sound like they would be done anytime soon. I figured out what the problem is! Is it that you keep mobilizing your pieces without intention? It's food, Tyrion! I need food! She stood up and stomped towards the kitchen, but not before spinning around back to me. We're not done! Don't you dare leave! I do like Celeste. A few minutes later, she returned carrying a gigantic slab of cooked meat on a small plate. That's raw! Tyrion, that is raw meat. That is not cooked. That is raw meat, Tyrion. What the fuck? I stared at it for a while, wondering if she was planning to eat all of that in one sitting. She began setting up her side of the board with one hand while holding a fork and knife in the other. She was somehow twirling both utensils in her right hand to switch between them. She delicately carved a small bit of meat with a knife before spinning to a fork to bring it to her mouth. She tilted her head at me and swallowed the bite whole. Hey, it's your move! Right. For someone who had never played before, she was actually improving with each game. It took me a while before I even noticed. She was adapting to my strategies and trying to use them against me. She caught me unaware a few times. At the rate she was learning, she could easily surpass a nationally ranked noble with enough practice. Checkmate. But I had been playing this game far longer than she had, and I was ranked far above the average noble. She just narrowed her eyes at me. How are you always one step ahead of me? It's like you're reading my mind! I could, but I never allowed myself to when playing. I'll get you this time! She began placing the pieces back in place when my stomach groaned loudly. Celeste blinked at me, startled for a moment, then she giggled. Excuse me? Have you eaten anything? No. Oh. She looked around for a moment before her eyes went to a slab of mystery meat. Do you want some of this? We have a lot. No, I couldn't possibly. My stomach reprimanded me with another loud rumble against my protests. She spun the knife in her hand and carved a bit of meat. She started to playfully wave the fork in front of my face expectantly. Do you have another fork? Oh, come on, don't be like that. I wanted to object, but I was too hungry to argue. I just spit down on the fork. That was when I felt quite the jarring texture. The meat was tough and fibrous. I had to consciously chew through the leathery sinew, lest I choke on it. I'd never tasted such a distinct, greasy tang before. I realized that I never actually asked her where this meat came from. How was she eating this so quickly? How is it? Well, it's certainly unique. Yeah, bear meat is kind of weird like that. Oh, okay. As I questioned her every decision that had led me to this point, Miss Timora and Flintheart came down from upstairs. My mentor's face was as stoic as always, but some frustration bled through. That was never a good sign. Hi, Dad! Oh, hello, sweetie. Flintheart's expression lit up as his daughter rushed over to him. My mentor glanced at the chessboard on the table. She never really took an interest in chess, but she knew that I'd been undefeated since I was 10 years old. Don't feel too bad about losing to him. He's nationally ranked. What? You never told me that? I can't believe you'd exploit a newbie! If only. Is that what your suit is for? Are you some kind of traveling chess player? No. Chess is just a hobby. I'm a defense attorney. Honestly, I wonder how Tyrion would do against Edgeworth in chess. Because that's Edgeworth's thing. Logic chess is so funny. I think it's called mind chess in the official translation, but I just think logic chess is better. Especially with the whole logic mechanic in investigations. I don't know. I didn't even know we had attorneys in Wyvengard. They were definitely a dying breed. The competent ones, anyways. Speaking of, we should probably get going. I hate to refuse you after you came all this way. Respect what you're doing, but I won't work for these mages of yours. Mages? Miss Timora had mentioned that before. Was this mystery client a mage? Anyways, it's getting late. Oh, if you leave now, you probably won't get to the city until morning. Aye, she's right. These parts are crawling with brigands and conmen. We wouldn't want to run into them after nightfall. I guess you have a point. The tavern has plenty of empty rooms. Why don't you stay here till morning? It's the least I can do after you came all this way. You know, Ruby, you have aged fabulously for 46. You don't look for it. You look like you're in your 20s. Fine. I'm not exactly in a rush to get back on that carriage. Sweetie, can you help me with the... He paused, his eyes focusing on the giant slab of meat on the table. Kill another bear. You barely got through the last one. What are we supposed to do with all this greasy meat? Eat it! That's what it's for! How are you even killing these things? It's not that hard. You just have to keep up with them. For Lord's sake, you're bloody insane. Oh, why did the scale lord curse me with a rabid wolf instead of a daughter? This rabid wolf is keeping your family fed! You know how many commoners in Wyvern Guard are starving? Don't talk to me like I'm the child. The two continued their bickering as they went up the staircase. How do you expect to find a good husband while you're out in the woods wrestling bears? Excuse me? Men are lining up to court me. I'm a goddess. A goddess of war, more like. You're always coming home covered in dirt, blood, and dirt. Hot. I mean, what? So, your talk with Flintheart didn't go well? Why can't he understand that all of this is bigger than him and his vendetta? I still have one last thing we could use. Cuthbert. So let's skip back downstairs, pausing upon seeing the error between my mentor and me. Oh, if we're done with your rooms, you can head upstairs if you want to rest up. Right. Thank you, Celeste. Silence followed us up the stairs until we arrived at our rooms. Miss Timora's hand gripped the handle of the door, but she never turned it. I'm sorry. I didn't expect our discussion to go on for that long. It's fine. I understand. I saw you playing chess with Flintheart's daughter earlier. Was everything okay? What do you mean? You're the kind of a sore winner when you play. Only when my opponent's a noble. She caught on quickly. She was ridiculously good for a beginner. Playing against her was nice. Well, I suppose you are at that age. Shut the fuck up! No, that's not what I meant. I never really got to play against other players outside of tournaments. And you only ever want to play shogi against me. They have shogi? I mean, I guess they have chess too. Did I just say chest? They have chess too. I'm just surprised in a Western European-esque nation that they would have shogi, especially since I don't think the countries in this world are that connected. They could be, but I just don't think they are. Because shogi is clearly superior. It's complete anarchy is what it is. You just bring fallen pieces back to life like some kind of necromancer. It adds depth. Dropping adds a dimension of play that isn't present in chess. We both glared at each other silently, but all of the tension from before had left. After a few moments, we just both burst out laughing. You really have grown up, haven't you? You must have been only 10 when you suddenly showed up at my house. That was a long time ago. She stayed silent for a moment. I know that you're just trying to help. Then why won't you let me? Cuthbert, it's not the right time. I'm ready for this, Miss Timora. You are. I know you are. But that just made me raise an eyebrow at her. Then what's the issue here? Again, she just stayed silent. Get some rest. You'll need to prepare for the journey tomorrow. I winced at the thought. I'd completely forgotten that I'd have to wrangle those horses again. I opened the door and fell onto the bed inside. It wasn't long before night fell. Between driving that carriage and dealing with those con artists, I was exhausted. I fell asleep, but I felt uneasiness creep into me as the night went on. I felt myself being pulled away, brought elsewhere. Oh, in every direction I looked, there was nothing, only the glass-like floor I was standing on. I saw my reflection in the floor. With each step I took, it rippled and shimmered. I knew that I was dreaming, but something deep inside me insisted that there was something real about this. Found. Whispers echoed through the realm. I spotted the small, dark silhouette of a person in the distance. She was silently staring at me and murmuring something under her breath. Finally found. She repeated the same phrase, almost like a chant. She looked practically giddy in anticipation of something. I finally found you, Heavensborn! I woke up to the sound of shouting from downstairs. I clutched at my chest. My heart was racing, and I was drenched in sweat. That was just a nightmare. I tried to convince myself of that. I shook my head. Something else was happening downstairs. Those voices sounded like Celeste's and Flintheart's, and they were only getting louder. Please, just let me explain. I don't want to hear it. They definitely weren't bickering about the bear meat this time. I want you out of my house. Get out. After that, there was only silence, followed by someone storming out of the tavern. The front door of the tavern slammed shut, the entire structure swaying from the force. I lay there silent. What could they be arguing about this late at night? It really wasn't any of my business. Hey, Dad! Oh, hello, sweetie. Flintheart's expression lit up as his daughter rushed over to him. The door creaked loudly as I eased it open and stepped out of my room. The hallway was completely dark. Not a single candle was lit. I stepped forward slowly, careful not to trip over anything. Flintheart was charging up the stairs when I bumped into him. I couldn't see his face, but judging from how he sounded earlier, I probably didn't want to. Sorry. Rat, I forgot you two were. His voice trailed off. Is everything okay? Sorry, I'm just going to. I slipped past Flintheart as I went down the stairs. He barely even noticed. I made my way to the dining room. There weren't any lights on the streets. It was nearly pitch black. Hello? No answer. I looked at the entrance to the tavern. The door was hanging open. The wooden frame was cracked. I looked through the village streets, but there weren't any lights on. I regretted not taking a lantern on my way out. I heard a squelch as I accidentally stepped on something that was disgustingly soft. I tried my best to ignore it. Stepped in shit. Celeste? Celeste! Where are you? A groan echoed from one of the nearby shacks. The lantern flickered to life from behind the wooden door. An older man stepped out, squinting against the darkness of the night. You got any idea what time it is? He eyed me up and down, taking notice of how I was dressed. This ain't the city, boy. We like our peace and quiet after sundown. Right, sorry, I was just looking for Celeste. Who? It's Celeste McCoy, she's Flintheart's daughter. Something in his expression shifted. Irritation turned into complete contempt. Do you know her? What do you want with that bastard? What do you want with that bastard? That damned mage. What? Those two probably woke up half the town with their yelling. Look, I just want to make sure that she's safe. You've got nothing to worry about there. Before I could get another word in, he went back into his house in a huff, slamming the door behind him. I took a breath and continued searching. Still have that famous temper, I see. You! Honestly, I never understood how you could stand living in this gloomy shack. Look, sir. How dare you use that ragecraft in my home? From what I've seen, I'm not the first. You've really been stirring the pot. The Four Pillars don't care for what they've been hearing from your rallies. Is that right? I'll be sure to bring that up in the next meeting. For Lord's sake, have some sense, Flintheart. At this rate, you're going to bring Lucio Stillwinder down on all of us. You may not value your life, but I will not become another one of his casualties. So you came all this way to convince me to stop? And this foolishness now. No harm shall come to you or your family. You have my word. Heh, your word is as good as the dirt you lick off the king's boots. You're a killer, as if I'd ever trust you. Flintheart, please. As someone who once thought of you as a friend, I'm only going to ask you once. Friend? Friend? I'll be dead in the ground before I ever call the likes of you a friend. Get out of my house. I don't have time for you. I don't think you'll have much time for anything. Yeah. Damn it all. You stubborn fool. Why couldn't you have just listened to me? Rudolph! Yes, sir. By the skilled lord, what did you... You killed him. I'll let the Inquisition. Tell them that you saw his daughter fleeing the scene. I'm sure the neighbors heard them yelling at each other. Understood, sir. What am I going to do? Oh! A few hours had already passed, but I finally found her sitting under an old oak tree. She looked just as tired as I was. Probably even more so. Her eyes were wet and red, but she quickly wiped them with her sleeve as she stood up to meet me. I've been looking for you. Oh, did we wake you up? I just wanted to make sure you were okay. It's nothing. You argue like that all of the time. Please just go away. I'm fine, see? She tried to squeeze her lips into a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. You should really head back. It's not safe to be out here this late. What about you? I can take care of myself. I just stood there silently for a moment. I'm sure he just lost his temper. You don't know that. Mind your own business. Sorry. She just looked down and said nothing before exhaling. Maybe you're right. It wouldn't feel right to let you walk back alone anyway. She walked past me, leading me back to the tavern. What? We returned, but found the tavern surrounded by knights clad in plate armor. Several carriages were parked outside, and I could see several lights lit within the tavern. Is that the Arcane Inquisition? Inquisition? They're an order of knights who investigate crimes committed using magic. Celeste and I shared a glance. Without another word, both of us ran toward the tavern, but she quickly outpaced me. What? Oh! She reached the tavern door, and the color drained from her face. Her hand went to her mouth as she stumbled backwards, her body shuddering. Dad? Her voice quivered. Tears began to stream down her face. There you are. Okay, what voice do I give this man? I can't do the Detective Dick Gumshoe voice. Yeah, he's used old serious for Detective Dick Gumshoe. There you are. I guess I'll just do that. I stood there, frozen. A knight stopped between her and the tavern entrance. Celeste McCoy, by the authority of the Wyvern Crown, I'm placing you under arrest. The knight tried to grab her arm, and it was like something flipped inside of her. She slammed her palm into the knight's chest, his plate armor reverberating as he was launched several feet backwards. The other knights rushed forward. They tried to grab her and pin her to the ground. She let out a guttural scream against them, almost sounding like a feral animal. It looked like it was taking all of their strength to keep her pinned down. It was like she was a completely different person. I stood there stunned before shaking myself out of it. What are you doing to her? What are you doing to her? Let her go! Tyrion! I think the Scaled Lord, Miss Timora, was safe. I knew I recognized him from somewhere. Stay out of our way. We'll lock you two up right next to her. He left in a huff, following after the other knights as they slowly dragged Celeste away. Miss Timora, what's going on? Why is the Arcane Inquisition here? I'm not sure, but Flintheart is dead. What? Okay. I think that's the end of the chapter. I think it is. Of this part. I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna search something up real quick. Do 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 do. Fuck it. You know what? I'm just gonna save. Because I think it's the end of the part. I don't know if we're going to do investigating or trial next time, but we will see. We will see. And I will see you all next time. Bye-bye!